27th of January 2015.
Equity markets saw a significant run-up last year. Yet, experts say that there is still time to invest into equities. That's not all. With interest rates poised to come down, fixed income investments are just as attractive. So how should you plan your investments in 2015? Rajiv Bajaj of Bajaj Capital joins us. Thanks very much, Rajiv, for joining us. My first question to you is on the equities. After the stellar performance that we saw last year, I think the question on everyone's mind is what strategy to adopt for entering the equity markets in the new year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very pertinent question. First of all, a very happy new year 2015 to all investors watching your show. 2014 has been a trailblazing year. It has made up for 4 or 5 years of low or negative returns. And but I must say that still we have a long way to go in the sustainable long-term bull run of the Indian equity markets. But given the fact that in 2014 we've seen a unidirectional run-up, it is natural for stock market to consolidate for a while before it starts galloping again. And then there are many uncertainties like what will happen in the budget and when will the US interest rates go up, or when will the RBI reduce interest rates. So there are many uncertainties, when will the policy decisions come from the government. So therefore, investors must use these opportunities when the markets consolidate or they correct to enter the market systematically. So this is not a lump sum investors market. This is a market where investors should be coming in systematically. Either they should be coming in through systematic investment plans of mutual funds, or they should be, if they have a lump sum amount, they should be systematically transferring in their money in 6 to 12 installments whenever they see is the right buying opportunity and whenever their advisor tells them to do so.
The fixed income segment is also extremely attractive at this point with interest rates ready to come down. So within the debt investment space, how should one really allocate funds?
Yeah, there is this big debate in the debt mutual fund segment whether whether one should be going in for duration funds or should one be going in for accrual funds. We, Bajaj Capital, we as a house, we have believed that investors should be more allocated to the accrual-based funds so that they get the benefit of higher underlying carrying yield of these investments. And therefore, if you are constructing a portfolio on only of debt instruments, we would say that be more in debt funds as compared to fixed income investments, and even within debt fund space, be more allocated to accrual funds as compared to duration funds. What makes us have this viewpoint is that GSEC, yields have already come down by almost 1% last year, and whatever interest rate cut expectations are there from RBI, they have probably already been priced into the prices of debt funds, and hence, therefore, accrual funds is a better strategy. And on the duration, on the debt funds also, it is better to be in the shorter duration up to 2 years funds.
Not often does it happen that both equity and debt markets look equally attractive. Do you think that one should have an above average allocation in fixed income at this point?
Well, you're right. Absolutely. This is a great time for investors when both equities and debt are looking attractive at the same time. It is our advice to investor is always to have an asset allocation approach. So therefore, depending upon your financial goals, your investment horizon and your risk tolerance, be allocated to both. Our house view is that we are overweight both to bonds and debt as a segment, and also to equities. So if you're a long-term investor in equities, we are overweight equities. If you're a medium-term investor in debt, we are overweight there. And you may do this at the cost of going underweight in cash positions or gold.
Rajiv, what about gold? Most people don't really expect much from gold in 2015. But how should an investor approach gold investments in the new year?
Well, gold has been a investment which has been hot on investors' list for 2 or 3 years up to 2012-13. And last year, last one and a half years, people have realized that gold at best is a hedge against inflation and against global risk. So while global risk still remains, we would not advise you to be over allocated to gold. Rather, you should be at this point of time neutral to underweight in gold. And this is the time when you should be building your positions in equities and in debt. And that is where the chances of returns are higher. So gold should be at best maybe 5 to 10% of your portfolio, depending upon your comfort with this asset class.
Rajiv, if an investor, say between the age of 30 and 35, has a 10 lakh portfolio to invest, what, according to you, should be his asset allocation in your opinion? Let's assume that he's single.
If you're a young investor, then you have all the time on your hand. You have 25, 30 years to go. It is obvious that you should be more allocated to equity. So in a typical case, your allocation to equity, as a thumb rule, we say in our business, it should be 80 minus your age. So if you're say 35 years of age, then approximately 55 to 60% of your portfolio can be in equity, balance can be in debt, and about approximately 6 months of your monthly household expenses should in any case be in liquid investments like savings bank account or money which you can withdraw at a couple of days' notice.
The Jan to March quarter is the time when most people rush to invest in tax-saving products. Ideally, of course, tax planning should be done from the beginning of the fiscal year. But for those who are now looking at tax-saving instruments currently, what would your advice be for them?
So even in tax-saving season this year, we should be utilizing maximum or all of our limit by investing in equity-linked saving schemes. So mutual fund, ELSS, they have given us very good returns in the past, and even in the next 3 to 5 year horizon, ELSS may turn out to be the best performing segment of tax saving instruments, provided you have the risk tolerance for it. So unless you are a risk averse investor and you cannot take the risk, then you can choose from other fixed income tax saving avenues. Otherwise, ELSS seems to be a very good option.
All right, Rajiv. Thanks very much for joining us on the show.
Coming up after the break, how will the insurance ordinance impact you as a policyholder?